Hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode number 4 of From an Idea to an OutSystems app. Bruno here. As you might notice, I'm not Bazinga, so to let you know, Bazinga is my dog. He's the one responsible for this channel, so anything that happens here is on his liability, so I can be hold any accountable for anything that is being shared here. Well, with this disclaimer done, let's talk about what are we going to do in this episode number 4. As you might notice, and if you have been following the building of this application, it's everything is in the same application, right? We have started building one monolith. It's a small monolith, right? But in the end, like everything that starts small, it will eventually grow up, and it will create us a lot of problems as soon as it starts becoming more and more complex. So it's the good time to start refactoring this application and start to look at some of the concepts that we have, and that's what we're going to do in this in today's episode. Now, the first thing we need to do is to look at what we have actually in our application and try to figure out what's necessary to do here. So just let's open this so we can see what we have. So we have a mobile app. If you recall, it's the Paddle Personal Coach is a mobile application that is going to be a companion app that will act like a paddle coach, okay? And as you can see, we have everything in this application. So we have screens, we have the server actions to create, delete, and get the match information. We also have our REST APIs here. We don't have, well, we're not exposing any service actions here, and all of our data it's here. Also, you can check the roles, that the roles are also here. So as you can see, everything is in the same application, is in the same module. So this can turn out to be a big nightmare in order to maintain this in the future. So let's start by thinking what should we do in order to refactor this. While refactoring, one of the things that we need to consider is the goal of the refactor. So we need to have two main goals. So the first goal is to have the pieces of code refactored in the right place in our architecture, and also the application still needs to work, right? So we need to have something that needs to be working exactly in the same way it was working before we have our application. So in terms of the architecture, what we will do is we'll start dividing this into different concepts that we have. And we will create different modules, one for each of the concepts that we have, and we will talk about it. Okay. Now, even before doing this, I need to assure that when I end this refactoring, everything is working, right? And in order to assure that, we need to have one thing that usually we don't really appreciate too much, but is the way to test and see if the application is up and running correctly. So before starting the refactoring, I'm just going to show real quick, and I'm going to build this really quick. I'm just going to create just one, okay, just one test. I'm going to do a visual test that will log in on our application, and it will get the list of matches. That is the concept that we have here, the matches, and it will just count that number and check if that number is correct or not. So when we migrate this, or when we refactor this, the application still needs to work in the same way. Okay, so let's open here Visual Studio Code. Okay, really quick. And what I'm going to do is on my test folder, I have tests, for the API, and I'm going to have tests for my UI. Okay, let me just close all of this. Okay, and let me close this terminal. Let me start a new terminal. And what I'm going to do, in order to do this, I need to have my node installed. So I have that already, but I'm just going to check if I have what version I have. Okay, so it's assured that it's installed. So let me move to my test folder. I have a UI folder. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to install this UI test framework that is Cypress. Okay, this will allow us really quick and in an easy way to create visual tests. And I wanted to share this with you because I've been experimenting this, and I'm really amazed with how easy it is to build tests with Cypress. So I'm just going to install it first. Okay, I installed it in here in this folder, and I'm just going to run this. I'm going to say npx cypress and open, and this will, I just installed it using this package manager. Now I'm running it, and it will open the UI for me of Cypress, this test framework. So I'm going to create end-to-end testing. Okay, this is what I'm going to explore, and while doing this, I need to configure. So configure is just going to create a few config files, okay? And as you can see, I can use these browsers to do my tests, okay? I will use Chrome, and I'm just going to open this here so you can see how does this look like. So I'm just going to create a new spec test, and I'm going to call it matches, okay? And this will create my first own test. As you can see, it just bootstrapped a test that's really simple. It's a test that opens the browser, right? And it just visits a page and it checks if the page is open. Okay, so as you can see, it has the steps here, a really simple and really easy, test. Okay, so remember what I wanted to do. So I want to create a test that will open my browser, and it's just gonna type my user and password. It's gonna be a login, and it's going to get all of the information that I have in terms of the matches, and that will give us the content. Okay, so moving on here to the login, let me just I have a test user already. Okay, let me just check if I know the password. I don't remember the password. Maybe it's not this one. Okay, now so let's go to users, and let's just reconfigure really quick this test user. Okay, so I've got my admin here. I'm just gonna log in, and well, this doesn't help, right? So I have made this test user. As you can see, it has the roles for my applications. So for the API key management, even for being a paddle player. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my password, and I'm just going to say that it's test123. I'm sharing this with you because I will be showing this while I'm building the test, so it's no secret, it's just the test user. Okay, so let's go here again to the paddle coach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the test user, and I'm going to just say that it's test123. Let me just log in really quick. And as you can see, I already have some data here from that user that has, well, there's a lot of information actually here. So let's just take a look at the code and see what we are doing. On the home, we are getting the matches. We had a problem here, that is we weren't filtering this by who created this. Okay, I'm just going to say get user ID. And now, let me just publish this really quick. I shouldn't be seeing every single match that I have on my database. Now I just can see the ones of the user that I'm logged in. Okay, really quick. Let's look at the result here. Okay, so let's refresh this page, and now it has been updated, and well, I actually don't have any data. So all the data that I have here, it's data that I have that is not from this user. Okay, so let's create data really quick. Let me just open here a new tab, and on this new tab, I just want to make sure that I have an API key for the test user. Let me just open here in the browser. Okay, I need to log in with the test user. Let's just check if I have an API key. Well, I have one here, but well, I don't remember this one, so I will just, revoke this one. I'm going to create a new API key. I'm just going to copy it. I'm just going to let me temporarily store here. Okay. Okay. So this one is the one that is active. So let's just add some data here. Okay, let me just go to here again. If you remember on the importer, I created an importer. So let's just go to a new terminal really quick. I'm gonna activate my virtual environment. You can check the other episodes to see what this means. Let me just go to the importer, and I'm just gonna Python. Let me just open this. Okay, the API key that I have I need to change, so all the data that I import is related with my user, my test user. So I'm gonna just do Python importer py. So this will run, and this will automatically upload my source file that I have here, into the server. Okay, it should have done that. Let me just check if this worked or not. Okay, it did not. So I just had the matches. I have my source. Oh, okay, I didn't get a response status. Oh, it should be. This should be typing a match successfully created as soon as I ran this. So let's try to understand why it isn't working. So I have the importer here. I got the wrong. Sorry, I've got the wrong. URL. Okay. So it's this one. Okay. And let's just run this. And okay, now it's creating. And now if we just, okay. So now finally we have the data here. Okay. This was easy. This was difficult. Okay, so now it looks like the preparation was the hard part. Let me go here and to Cypress, and let's start building the test. Okay, so really easy. First thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to configure something here in Cypress in order to allow me to do some tests in the OutSystems application. I'm not 100% sure why I need to do this, but I've realized that I need to set the Chrome Web Security to false in order to be able to pass the login screen and do the visual testing. Okay, I'm still investigating why I need to do this, but I know I need to do this, so that's why I'm configuring it now. Okay, so with this I've just reconfigured it. Now on the package JSON, I'm just gonna add here some scripts just to help me, to be a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add here, the scripts, okay? And in the scripts, I'm just gonna create a new script, okay? That is, so the script will be like this, something like this. Okay, CI, if I want to open, on a mobile device, okay, this will be this is what I will run. So I'll run this command, cypress open, and the configs that I will use, it's the viewport width. Okay, so I'm running, when it opens, I'm gonna run in like in a mobile format. It's gonna say this, and the viewport not width, sorry, the viewport height, it's gonna be 667, something like that. Okay, cool. Now this is when I want to open. Okay, now this is when I want to run. Run is when I'm going to run the tests, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna run on a headless browser, so I'm not gonna see the browser running. So here I will do also Cypress. In this case, I'm gonna say run. I want to say that the browser that I'm gonna run is on Chrome. okay? And the config will be the same as this one. Okay, let me just copy paste because I'm a little bit lazy. And here we go. So now we have these scripts that I can use on the terminal. Okay, you will see how this then works. Okay, so let's go and let's configure the tests. So as you've seen, we had the cypress end to end. So I created these matches, or actually it created for me. Okay, so let's just describe what kind of tests are these. So let's say that these are the tests for assuring a good refactor. Okay, let's say like this. Okay, so hit is what is the test. Okay, the description of the test. So the test is it should, right, it should display all matches for test user. Okay, cool. So let's start with this. So what we're gonna do when this opens, I'm gonna visit this, right? I'm gonna visit, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna visit this, I'm gonna go directly to the login page. Okay, then after that, what I'm gonna do is I need to find on my UI my component to, you know, the input box where I'm going to write my user and password. Okay, so I can use the selectors, you know, from CSS. Okay, I could use IDs. It's a bit dangerous to use IDs because, you know, the IDs are managed by the platform and we can lose the you know, the IDs, right? So what I'm going to do is actually I'm actually going to use them. So the IDs that we have for the login page, let's just come here and just log out. Okay, although I said this is dangerous, right? But actually it's what I'm going to use. I'm not expecting this to change, so it's just you know, a mock-up of a test that we could be doing. Okay, so I'm just going to get this, so the browser will wait for this. Then I'm just going to give it, you know, a timeout of, let's say, 10 seconds, because I'm just going to load resources and sometimes it can take a little bit of time. And after this, I'm going to just type, you know, my user, and my user is going to be test user. Okay. Now, if you want to see this up and running, so let me just close this. And so remember that I created those scripts. So the scripts that I'm going to say CI, CY, open, and I'm going to say mobile. Oops, it's not recognized. Sorry, it's npm, right? Run CI, open, mobile. Okay, so it's gonna open Cypress, you know, with that config that we've seen, and as you can see, it will open the browser that we've selected. Actually, just gonna load with the definitions that we had. So it's gonna load this spec. You know, I'm just gonna load it here, and well, as you can see, it's now starting to run, and we can see that it's calling the login page. Okay, and it just typed test user on the username. Okay, let's just continue this. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to do the same, but let's just do that for the password. So now I'm gonna get the password, and I have it here, right? I have my input. Let's just use this ID. Okay, and when I get this input, I'm just gonna type here my password. Let's actually test 1, 2, 3. Okay, so after that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my button. Okay, I could do this in a more elegant way. I'm just gonna call the class button. I know it's the name is called, and I'm just gonna say that this is gonna be click. Okay, so let's just save this. Okay, it has reloaded. As you can see, whenever you save that file, it's just gonna reload here. So it's gonna write my username, and it's just loaded. So now what we got is our screen with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 7. I think it was 8. I think we have 8 elements in the list. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, and the get already has the waiting, the waiting promise of, I'm going to look like for the list, and when I have the list, I'm going to find, the list item. This is, I know what are the classes that the platform creates, so that's what I'm doing, right? So I'm just, when I log in, right, let's just say test 1, 2, 3, right? So, okay. No thanks. Okay. We have, we have the list, and inside the list, we have the list items, okay? And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to find all the list items, and I'm going to say that this should, okay, this is the way you do asserts here, have length, okay, of 8. Okay, so I know it's not the most, bright test in the world, but the matter of the fact is it's going to allow us, to do a really quick check as soon as we do the refactor. Okay, so now we have tests. We also have, if you still remember, we also have the API tests, right? So on the terminal, if we go here, we also have the tests. So if we go to tests, API, right, and we just run Python -m pytest, and it's going to be -v API, right? It's going to run the API tests, okay? So it's passing. Okay. So these tests are also not working correctly. Let's just go really quick here and see what's the problem. And I know what the problem is, right? I need to change my API key really quick. See, I had this wrong. I'm just gonna create this now, and just let's run this again. And see, it's always good to have the tests. So everything is green, right? The API tests are green, and the UI test that I just created using Cypress is also green. So now that I have everything green, I can start thinking about refactoring, okay? Because in the end, I'm gonna run the test again. If it's not everything green, it means I screwed up something in this, right? Okay, so let's go look and what we need to do in terms of the refactor. Okay, so in terms of the concepts, we need to take the database out of here. Okay, so we are going to move this to another module that is going to be a core service model. Okay, so this is a model where we'll have all our CRUD actions and also our data. Then the APIs, we will move all of the APIs that we have. We will move that also to another module that's going to be the API module. And for the roles, we are also going to create one. I know this sounds maybe a little bit too much, but in fact, this is something that we're just preparing for the future. If we have a lot of roles and the way to define, we're also going to create a core module that's going to have it's going to have the roles. Okay, so this module will only have the interface, and it will connect to the other modules to get the data to show here in our application. Okay, now this would be really easy because the only thing I need to do is just copy paste from one place to another my structures, and that would be okay. But I want to create here a challenge so we can have a good example here. What I don't want is I don't want to lose all the information that I already have on my tables that are being filled, okay? So I have a lot of information here, but this actually doesn't matter a lot. It's just to showcase how can we create, a migration, a process of data. So I'm going to refactor code, and I'm also going to migrate the data from one side to another. Okay, so let's start first with the concept. So first thing first is this will all have to coexist until I'm sure everything is okay. So I'm not going to delete anything. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is start creating new things. So let's start here. Let's go to the Paddle Personal Coach. Okay, let's add a new module here. And this module, this could be a core services model. So I'm just going to have services here. Actually, I can leave this blank. And I'm going to say it's Paddle Coach. And let's add this suffix of CS, of core services. And let's just create this module. Okay? Okay, there's someone in the chat. Just probably, doing some advertising. Okay. Doesn't matter. So, okay, I've got my core services now. So first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just, just gonna copy my data structure that I have here. Okay, so this will have my data here. Okay, now what happens is that, like I said, since I'm copying the structure, not the data. So anything that will be here, this won't be possible. I won't be able to use it. When I reference this, it won't have any data. Okay, so we're gonna have the data here, and also we are going to have our match and our location. Okay, so all the logic that I have, I also want to have here. Okay, cool. So now why are we getting these errors? Let's try to check. Okay, I need a math schema, a match schema that I've created. So I also have this structure here. I'm just gonna get here, and I'm just gonna add the structure here. And now, okay, I have this this core service. Okay. Now, one of the things that I need to do in order to use it in my application is I need to have this public so I can consume it on this side. Okay, so well, one of the things that I said that I was not gonna just change things, but the fact is whatever doesn't have data here, I don't need to keep it here, at least for now. So match as data, right? So all the static have data. Nutrition doesn't have data, right? So I'll just remove this from here. Partner also doesn't have data. You can remove it from here. I know set doesn't have any data. So I'm gonna remove it from here. Physical the same. So I'm just gonna remove everything that we don't have. I'm just gonna remove. I can remove. I cannot remove that one. So I cannot remove these ones. Okay. So I'm good to go here. And on this side, I have everything here. So let me just publish this really quick. Okay. So I can create the database elements. Okay. Cool. Now it's done. Okay, so now I want to use this, but I want to first to get my data there. Okay, so on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to suffix everything here because it will be easier for me to manage. Okay, so everything that's going to be replaced by something that is being refactored, I'm just gonna do the deprecated here. Okay, cool. This has been deprecated. This has been deprecated. Okay, this has been deprecated, right? And this has been deprecated. Okay, you'll see why I'm changing the names here, because I will need to reference what I have, and I don't want the names clashing in the names. So let's go here. Let's say that match is public, right? Also that location is public. We said it was bulk quality, right? And match type. Okay. Cool. Okay, now that we have this, right? Let's just publish this again. We can start, we can start here. We can, oh, sorry, and I forgot, of course, we need to have the create new match, right? This is also going to be public, and this needs the schema also to be public, okay? Cool. So I'm just going to publish this again. Now I can, on my application, okay, on my mobile application. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the core service, right? And I'm going to reference everything, okay? Okay, so now I have here the data. As you can see, there's no clashes in the names. Okay, and this is really important as for, keep our sanity, because if we keep the same names, it will put the suffix 2 or 3, and it's for me at least, it's really hard then to understand what's going on here. Okay, so now that I have this, one of the things that I need to do, or one of the most important things that I need to do, is to actually migrate the data that I have here, and migrate the data that I have on this match deprecated, and I have to take it from here and put it, inside match here. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to build a timer here. Okay, and this timer will be called, I don't know, something like sync data. Okay, I'm just gonna create a new server action that's gonna be called also sync data. Okay, and the sync data, it's although it looks like, again, this looks like a simple example, and it is, I'm just gonna make it a little bit more complex in order to show how we would do this with real data, in production, with the real need to have the certainty that we won't lose data. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to use, it's a pattern to create kind of some traffic lights, like it's red or it is green. Okay, because I don't want a timer runs asynchronously, right? So it can run and it can be called in service center, it can be called even in code, right? So it can be called, we don't have the control. So what we have to have the control is that whenever we're syncing the data, we don't want to have concurrent processes running, because it might get into the point that it's going to copy probably 2 times the same rows, and that will create us a hell of a problem while migrating the data. Okay, so I'm going to create that traffic light. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create here an entity. I'm just going to call it sync. Okay, and it's as simple as this. So it's going to have just the started on. Okay, it's a date time. Okay, so as soon as I start my process, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if there's anything on this table. Okay, and what I need to do is I need to check if there's anything that is already been started, but more important than that, I also need to make sure that we don't get, process that gets hanged and they don't move. So I'm just gonna add here a variable that I'm just gonna call it the timeout. Okay, I'm gonna put this in integer because it's the timeout in integers. As you might be aware, so the timers, when they run, they have a maximum number of minutes that can be configured in order, for them not to time out. So I'm gonna use this timeout. So in order to make sure we don't have problems, we're gonna have a little bit of a threshold here, lower than the timeout of the timers, in order for us to control the process, and the process itself can run and call itself and running multiple times without eating the timeout of the timer. Okay, so to show you this working, I'm not going to use a value that is near the timeout value of timers. I'm just going to use 1 minute, okay, to showcase what I'm trying to explain here. Okay, so on the sync data, what I'm going to look is for, I want to see how many rows, or if we have rows here where the started on, okay, let's say the minutes diff. Okay, I can do this on this table. You shouldn't have a lot of values here between this and current date time. If this is lower, you know, or equal than the timeout. Okay, minute diff, minutes, not minutes diff. What's the name of diff minutes? Is it diff minutes? Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm going to look for entries in this table. So let me just publish this real quick. I'm going to look for entries in this table. You know, it's my traffic light. Is there any entry there? So it means, is any process running? I'm running this. So is there any timer running? Already running? Okay. So this is what I'm asking here. Okay. Any process running. Okay. Let's call this the query. Okay, so we have this. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an if here, right? So, if this is empty, right? It means, okay, no sync process running, right? Okay, so if not, I will continue. If there's already a sync process, I won't continue, because if I do, this will just create me a problem here. Okay. Cool. So now that I'm checking, do I have a green light? Okay. If I have a green light, let me move. Okay. So let's just come here and create that sync there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, you know, add a token there with the time, and I will create this sync. Okay. Now, very important is that since I'm running this in a timer again synchronously, everything that we have between the start and the end are in the same transaction. Okay. This means that everything is being changed, but it's not being actually updated in the database. Okay, so what I need to do when I create this thing, and you will see this all along the process, is that when I change things in the database, because of concurrency, I want this to be executed immediately. So I'm going to use one action that's very known, that is I need to load it first, so I'm just going to reference the system here. That is called the commit transaction. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm just gonna, you know, commit the transaction. So I'm just gonna commit the sync. So whatever happens in this process, this line has been written in this table. So if another process starts and it runs this query, it will get that sync process running, and it will just finish. So it doesn't run on concurrency. Okay, so I've done this commit. Okay, now what I need to do is to get my data in order to start you know, moving data from one side to another. Okay, so I need to make a little bit of a change in my table. I'm just going to add a new attribute that is the synced on, or sync on, or synced. I don't know what to write. Synced on, is it like this? I don't know. Let's put sync on. Okay, boolean. Okay, so no, sorry, not boolean, datetime. Okay, and this is what will assure me that when I consult and I query this table, I know what data has been you know, already been synced, correctly synced. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get just one, right? I'm just going to come here, and I'm gonna well, I'm gonna get my match deprecated. Okay. So, oops, sorry. Oh, come on. Okay, so now I need to do this query. So I'm gonna get the matches, right? What I'm going to do is I'm gonna filter. I want the ones that haven't been synced yet. So sync is null, right? Null date. One thing is important. I need to sort it by something. Okay, I just want to sort, let's say ID, descending. Sorry, ascending. It will start in the smaller ID. Okay, and I will get that. And I'm just going to say I just need one. Okay, I just need the first one, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cycle here where I'm going to get my data, get one row, write the row, get another one, and so on and so on. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. Let's just check if this is empty, right? If this is empty, it means that I don't have any more, okay, data to sync. So no data to sync, right? So if I don't have any data to sync, I just need, to end my flow, right? Now, if I have data to sync, now I have to do some more things, right? So one of the things that I need to do is I need to call for each row, right? The create new match, okay, on my core service, okay? I need to create this new match, okay? Now, one of the things that we need to take in consideration, it's something that's really important, that is the foreign keys, okay? So we have structures. So this is why I was saying this is a really simple example, but it can show a lot of the complexity of what you can face while doing this, in a real process. Okay. So let's look at the structure that we have, right? And the match, it has foreign keys, right? And I did this just, of course, here is simplified. The only one we need to be careful with is actually, the location, because all the others, the primary key is the label. So you just send the label and it will be the same independently of the module that you are. Match type the same, right? The only thing that is different, it's the location, because location has ID and it is label. So in order to do this mapping correctly, we need to do something. We cannot assure that the data or the IDs of a record in one module will be exactly the same in the other one. And we cannot guess that, or we cannot, pray for the best when we're doing this. So we need to do it the right way. Okay. And the right way is on the destiny of our data, on the location. In this case, this would work for foreign keys in a lookup table, for example. It's the same. So I need to come here and I need to create here a new attribute. And this new attribute is going to be called the external ID. Okay. And this external ID is going to be an integer. Okay. And now, let me just publish this really quick. What we need to do, and again, this can be cumbersome, but like I said, it's an example of things that can happen in reality. So nothing like starting with a good architecture, okay, so we don't have to face these problems. But we didn't, so now we're gonna pay the price. Okay, let's look at the records. Okay, so the air food, I'm just gonna go to my source, okay, and I'm gonna go here to location, and I'm gonna check my data, okay? So air food, right? Air food here, it's number 2. So what I'm going to do here is air food here is number 2, okay? Indoor paddle center here is number 4. So in the external ID, I'm just going to put 4. This one, it's this one, right? It's number 1, okay? And now this one should be 3, I believe. Yeah, it's going to be 3. Okay, so now that I have this, let me just publish this really quick. Now what I need to do is I need to come here and just refresh this, okay, because I've changed the structure, right? I'm just gonna refresh all so it's quicker. Okay, cool. Now let's go to our timer again. Oops. Let's go to our timer. Let's go to our timer. Okay, so I have data to sync, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new match. Okay, I'm just going to create this new match. Okay. And on the create new match, so the started on will map to my started on. My duration will map to my duration. Always same opponent. Okay, so I need to map all the fields, right? Now match ID, right? I have it here, get matches. It's my match type ID, okay? Now I'll get, this information that it's not the same identifier. We could surpass that, transforming this into a text identifier to text and text to identifier, but it's actually just text, so I'm not gonna take care of that now. So I got the location, and also on the location is the one that I need to pass the ID. Okay, let's leave this for the last one. Now temperature, oops, I have my temperature. Ball quality, it's the same that I was talking about. So here we go. Ball quality, and the user ID, it's actually the same user ID, right? Because both modules have users as their user provider. Okay, that's why I don't need to do anything in this mapping differently than just mapping the users. Okay, it's because they're using the same user provider. If they weren't, then we would have also more challenges here. Okay, so now what we need to do is to get the location. So I'm going to my new tables that I have here, right? It's a static, so I'm going to get my location, and I'm going to do a query here, and I'm just going to, just look for, I want a location where the external ID of that location is exactly the same as my get message matches of my, location. Now that I have my location, okay, get location, I'm gonna say I just want the first one, right? And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say that this is the result of the get location, the location ID. Okay, so this will map correctly the locations. Okay, so here we go. So next, let's look at what. So we get the response, right? So let's just check if we had success. So if we had success, what it means? It means that the ID that I got from this created match, this ID will be bigger than 0, right? This means that I had success. Okay, so success. So if I have success, I need to do something. That is what? Mark on this table, right? On the synced on. Oops, not here. Right? Saying that this has been synced on. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna set the variable, okay, on this, the match deprecated. I'm just gonna say that the sync on is core datetime. Okay, cool. So let's say set row as synced, as sync, And now what I need to do, of course, is let me just move this a little bit around here. So I'm just gonna need to, to update this table, right? And yes, if you're thinking that I need to do that, you're thinking it correctly. I need to commit this transaction, okay? Because it's the only way that is going to assure that all the rows will be synced during the process without, concurrency. So after this is done, I need to do something, okay? So as you can see, I will probably go back, right? Because this is a cycle. Usually what people do in timers is they do batches of volume. I like to use time, okay? So what I want to do is I want to check how much time am I consuming in here. And if I'm consuming more time that I want, I will end this timer so I don't get a timeout, and I call it again. Okay, so how do I do that? Before this, I'm going to create here a variable that I'm going to say started on. Okay, and as soon as we start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this started with the current date time. Okay, now what I'm going to check here is I'm going to check if we already passed the that timeout. Okay, so I'm going to say the same diff minutes between the started on and current date time. If this is bigger, I'm going to put equal here to show you about the timeout. Okay, in this case, remember I just have 1 minute, so I can show this running. So should it timeout, or I don't know, already timeout, something like that. Okay, already timeout. Okay, so if already timeout, we're gonna do something. If not, we're just gonna continue. Okay, so if success is false, I'm not gonna update this. I'm just gonna keep moving here. Okay, now if it's already timed out, then I'm gonna end this timer. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, let me just drag this wheel here, and now I need, remember the traffic light, I need to clear the traffic light. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually I'm going to use a advanced query because I want to write this in a simpler way. So I'm just going to delete from sync. Okay, so anything that's in the sync table, I'm just going to delete it. So I'm just going to clear, because we can have things that got stuck there or by some reason. If I get an error 500 somewhere in here, and I don't have this well covered with exceptions, for example, I can get, you know, this table with data, and I don't want, you know, to avoid being able to keep running my timer because I just have a value there that it's stuck. So I'm just going to clean everything. So I'm just going to say delete sync. Okay, or I don't know, clear, maybe it's easier to read. So I'm going to clear the sync, right? Again, commit. Okay, although we are really in the end of the clean sync of the timer, right? But now it comes, so if I time out, I'm going to come here. Now if this happens, then I need to do one more thing yet. Okay, so I need to check, do I need to continue and run the time again, or can I end everything? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my get message deprecated here. And what I'm going to do is on my IDs, I'm going to do the same. So add filter. Let's say that I want synced on equals null date. Okay. And, but in this case, I want to get a count. Okay. So I can get the count here. So get match count, or let's say get unsync match count. Okay. Now this is also, I just need a count will give me 1, but let's just put this here. So I'm just going to do an if again. So if what? If the return that I have here, if is bigger than 0, right? So as still data to sync, right? The question will be that one. So if not, I will end. If I do have, what I'm going to do is I'm actually wake this timer again. So I will, you know, run this, and I'm going to end the flow. Okay. So this is really important to have this, because I still have data to sync. Yeah, then I run it again, no problem. I'll create, you know, on the traffic light again. I will run this as much as time as I possible, and I can continue, right? So all we need to do now is just closing here the loop. Let me just add an assigns here so this doesn't look so bad. So I'm just, if I already time out, I'm gonna get here, and then I'm gonna move up here, and I'm just gonna, get something here. I'm gonna say that this needs to go there. Oops. Okay. So from here, I will go to here, and from here, I'm just gonna drag it here. Okay, cool. This is done. Is it? Well, one more thing that I like to do on my timers. Again, I know this is a very simple. I could, if I probably did this by hand, I already had my data on my CS, right? It would be way easier to do all of this, right? So, but to show you again some of the practices that I like to use, that is, I would like to have a way to somehow terminate. So whenever I have things like this, right, where I have something that does a query, goes to do something, and then comes go back, this has a lot of potential to create infinite loops. Okay, so I like to create protections against infinite loops, and the way that I will show you how to do now, you might probably use other things, but I do use this. Is I'm gonna set the property that is allow timers, or let's say sync timer, to run. Okay, and it's a boolean. Okay, and I think the develop could be true, so we just can use it to disconnect it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to use this. So if there's something running in an infinite loop, I can go to Service Center and I can change the side property and break the cycle here. And where is the cycle? So we have a cycle inside the get matches right in here. So one of the things is I can have no data that is empty. It means I have nothing to break. It means I have this, or I'm going to use the side property allow sync timer to run. Okay. So if this is not allow. Okay. So if it is empty, it breaks, or if it is false, it will also break. Okay. And I'm gonna clear the sync, and I'm just gonna do this. So now I don't want also this to be calling this again. So here is where also I can break the cycle. So you see this needs to be bigger than 0, and the side property must allow the sync to run. So if this is true, I'm allowing the syncer to run, and I have values it will run, or else it will stop. So this is the way, at least, that I like to use to break infinite loops inside timers. Okay, so here we go. After all of these, let me just publish. Let's see if this works. We've been writing code for a long time. And to showcase how this is working, I'm going to run in debug, so I can have control and see what's happening, but also to give 1 minute of timeout, so we can see this working. Okay. So here we go. Let me just add here a breakpoint. Let me have to start debugging here. And let's wait for this to run, right? We also need to run the timer here in Service Center. It's not that user now. I'm gonna use it's my admin, right? No, sorry, not admin. Admin is a user. I'm gonna use this one. It's my Service Center user. I'm sorry. So side properties. Let's look at the side properties. Allow sync timer to run. It's true. It will allow. Okay, so I have my timer. It's on debug. Okay, let's run now. Okay, so we got okay. Let's go. So I have a good question here. So couldn't we have just an if statement to an end node at the beginning to break the cycle? My problem is if it gets stuck in here, and it will just crash my. I would have to at least wait for it to crash once for that to work. At least I don't know if I'm covering the use case or if what you're saying probably would work. At least I like to put something inside the cycles so I can break inside the cycles. Okay. So let's just get this moving. Any process running. Okay, I don't have any process, so I'm just, like I said, create the sync. I just created something there. I'm gonna get the matches. I have a match to sync, right? I'm just gonna create the new match. Did I success? I did. So set it as sync, commit. Okay, already timed out. No, I didn't take 1 minute. Let's go back. Let's get another one. Okay, I got it as a sync, right? So I'm gonna have success here. Okay, commit transaction, already timeout, not yet. So I had 1 minute, right? So I need to stall here for 1 minute. I remember I have a few I had a few rows there, so I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, actually here, if you see, and I can refresh my data here. So I'm already starting to get some data here. You can see. Now I'm gonna get. Okay, it already timed out, so because it passed 1 more minute, I'm gonna clear my sync, commit. I'm just gonna, get the count. Does it still have? And I'm gonna wake up again. Okay, and now this will call again my process, right, or my timer. Not the process, the timer. Let's wait it to get back here, and let's just now, so we don't get here forever. Just had a breakpoint here and just let it go. And it's here, so it's still data to sync. No, it doesn't. And off we go. Okay. So now if we come here, we should refresh this preview, right? And we can see that we have, well, now way more data here. And if we go here and go to the deprecated, you can see that we have also the rows right here with a sync though. Okay. Now again, all of this work, just because we have data. So really important to do this, before starting anything else. Now, in order to see if this is working right, what we need to do is to change, on the home, for example, we have the get matches created by, right? We are looking at the deprecated. Okay, so let's change this, right? So let's just, remove this. Well, I can actually, let's just remove this, and we're going to get some data here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get here the match, and I'm going to get my matches. And now this is max records, right? And what I need to do is I need to come here, and this will be my get matches list. Actually, the get matches, I need to filter it. Oops, I need to filter it. Remember, I want my match by my created by is my get user ID. Okay, and on the UI part, well, there's a lot of invalid expression here. I'm gonna get matches. Yeah, okay. Location. So I could do something like finding, where's deprecated in here, but let's just do this manually. That's not many. There aren't many, to do. So here we go. Oh, one more to go, and I think we're ready to use. We are ready to use that one. Okay. So let's just publish this. Now, let's refactor some more things, right? Like I said, the API also needs to be, needs to be refactored, okay? So let's just check that if we have everything as public. This one needs to be public. This one here also needs to be public. And the validate, I don't think it needs. Let me see if it has. No usages. Maybe this one is about. We'll check later. Okay. So now we got this, and so we're going to create two more modules, right? We're also going to create the personal coach, the API, okay, the one that will have the APIs, and in this one, what we're going to do is whatever we have here in the APIs, remember all of these. So let's just copy this and just, paste here, okay? Now what I'm missing, I'm missing the match schema, right? So let's go to our core service, right? And let's add everything here. Okay, new match. I don't have new match. It's nice. Oh, okay. Oh, I need the data type. It's not the deprecated. It's this one. Okay, let's clean this really quick. Okay. Okay, match in fact. I have to say that if we had, the prefix 1 or 2, this would be a nightmare. Okay. Oh, in the exception. Actually, exceptions are a problem, right? Because we can't just easily copy paste. We have a lot of errors here with this one, right? Okay, let's remove everywhere where it's deprecated. So I should have copied it before doing the renaming. If I did that, I wouldn't have to do all of this, Okay. Here we go, and okay, cool. Now exception must be set. What's the problem with my exception? So I need to create my exception, right? What's the exception here? Really quick, all exceptions, user exception, API exception. Let's call it API exception. I'm going to create my exception here. API exception. I need to go everywhere and just add API exception. Oh, I know it's a little bit painful. But let's do it anyway, right? Cool. It's almost green. It's almost green. And it's green, and here we go. Let's just publish this. Okay. So now we have the API also decoupled from this core services and also from our application. Okay. So here we go. We have decoupled that from here. Let's just remove this one. We don't need it anymore. Let's keep it for now because we still have the Rust API. So let's use the practice of just deleting when we are sure we don't need it. So we got this. Now the last but not least, let's have a new here, the roles. Okay. Now the roles that I have are very important because I want to, I don't want to have them managed in here. I want to have a centralized place where I can just, let me just remove from here, copy. Let's add them here. I want to have a centralized place where I can, where I can manage it, where I can manage it. So I have the paddle player here. Come on the paddle player, let's just remove it here. Okay, this one will be public. Okay, and maybe I should give it a description. Okay, let me just publish this really quick. And now what we're going to do is we're going to import that here. And let's just say roles, right? And I'm going to use the role here. Okay, role management can be really complicated when you have a lot of people working on projects. So it's good to have one place, just one place, you know, to rule. So I'm just going to say that the role to get the home screen is this paddle player, also for the new match. Okay. And now let's just publish this, right? Okay, and with this, again, I moved all the code around, but with now I have I have my my application separated in different modules. Okay, I haven't deleted anything yet because I'm not crazy. So let's just first test the APIs. Okay, let's open here the API. Okay, this is the name, right? So in here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just change this, right? And we're gonna run the tests again. So let's see if this is possible, if we can create, you know, okay, so the API, it means that it's already pointing to the new APIs and it's working. So it means it's actually trying to use the API keys differently. Then it's creating a new match, it's getting the match, and it's deleting the match. Okay, so the API part is okay. So I'm going to get here, I'm going to go to my application. Remember, I had all my APIs here. So all of this goes away, which is cool, right? And on the exceptions, on this user exception, let's just delete this. And off we go, right? So now let's test you know, the part of the application of the front end. Okay, so let's move to here, and on our PowerShell, let's just, you know, let's terminate this. And remember, the open was for us to see it open, but if I put run, it will run in a headless browser on a Chrome, and it will run the test that we have designed. Actually, the test is just, you know, log in, and after the login, see how many matches did we have in the list, and those matches would be should be the same because we moved the data from our main application into our core services. Okay, so the test failed. Okay, the test fails, and we got screenshots. Okay, let's try to look what we have on the screenshots. So we have the script, not the script, sorry. We have the tests on the UI tests on Cypress. We have the screenshots. Okay, just taken now. And as you can see, well, it didn't get the username, so something happened here. So let's just run this again to see if it was a problem on the bootstrap of the test or something like that. Well, if this doesn't work, we will run the test, you know, not in a headless browser, but in a browser that we're seeing. Let's see if this runs, and let's see what happens now. Okay, it's running the test. It's probably still waiting, you know, for to render and to find the input boxes. So it failed again. Okay, let's just look at the screenshots, and we have now we now have a different screenshot, and I think this shows the importance of having tests. So what went wrong, right? We just refactored everything. Everything was kind of, if I just look at here, right? If I only looked at the core services, the data is here, right? The IDs are correct. Now, as you can see by the screenshot, it actually went to invalid permissions instead of going to the screens. So what does this mean? Is we forgot something while we were refactoring. So this is really important to have tests. What did we forgot? So when we changed the roles to another module and we referenced here, everything is okay except for the part that I need to go, you know, to users and say that my users, like test user for example, are also, you know, paddle player, because this role has changed. Although it is the same name, it's in a different module. So I'm going to add that here. Now, doing this, let's let's just run the test again and let's see what happened. So as you can see, running tests, it's really important. So we need to have the tests designed and built before this kind of activities. Again, I know we have a cannon here to kill a mosquito, because what we are doing here is not that complex that needs all of this, right? But the matter of the fact is that in the end, this will help us understand. So there was nothing wrong with refactoring the data, right? The data was actually migrated, but one small detail, and those small details can be the end in production applications, that you might imagine, right? And here it is, the tests have passed. So the tests for the APIs passed, the UI tests always also passed. So now I'm feeling confident to come here, on this one, and just everything that's deprecated, I'm just gonna delete this. What is still using this? Okay, the save on click. Okay, it needs to use the new one, right? It needs to use the create new match. Oops. No, let's not do like this, or else we're gonna have problems. Let's create the new match. Okay, started on. It's my started on. Duration is gonna be my duration. Match type will be my match type. Okay. My location will be my I'll also be my location. Okay. And my user ID is going to be the get user ID. Okay. So this is done now. And also, so everything that we have here, all of this that is deprecated, I can delete. Also the sync I can delete, right? Because I won't need this anymore. So sad, right? So after so much work, I'm gonna delete everything. So the get locations. So instead of the get locations, I need to go and get my locations here. And well, match type. On my get match types, I also need to go get my match types. Okay, so the data type of this is now, now this schema doesn't need to exist, right? This also doesn't need to exist. This is of this type. Okay, now I'm just cleaning this up. I'm not doing anything that is particularly, interesting to see. So all I need to do is, just clean this. There's not so much things now to do. One more to go, I think. Yep, here it is. Okay, I'm just gonna publish this real quick. So after all the work that we had creating those timers to sync everything, we deleted everything, but at least now, we are sure that this is all up and running. Okay, let's just use here our test user, our test 3. Okay, it's working, right? So again, better be cautious, and let's just run this again. Oh, okay. What happened? Okay. No, I'm not on the right. Sorry, I'm not on the right. It's this one. So let's just run this one more time. Just make sure this is okay. And I didn't delete anything that I shouldn't have deleted, because deleting is always dangerous. So let's just wait for the greens. We're actually seeing this, right? This is what we're running. It's green, it's working. Okay. So we have refactored our application, just summarizing. Before that, we just created tests that could help us making sure that when we end the, the, the refactoring, everything was okay. We created a timer that was kind of trying to be bulletproof, to have a kill switch that wouldn't break on timeouts, that would be syncing data without problems of concurrency. And in the end, we have all the application data in a module, in a core services model. We have an API module that we are using, also with success, and we changed the roles also to a specific module so we can manage the roles efficiently, and we've refactored. So in the end of this hour and almost half, we got exactly at the same point as we were in the beginning of the episode, which is really interesting. I'm saying this, of course, in front of regarding the front end, right? Because we know the work that we have with the back end. So sometimes it's really hard to justify why we need to do refactors, right? We have this effort and we don't see it in the front end. But the truth is we need this in order, to move faster while developing our application. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I think at least for me it was good, to practice all of these patterns and migrating the data. I hadn't done this for some time, so it was really interesting for me. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stay tuned. So this episode will then be published in YouTube, on the playlist of YouTube, and after that, all the code that you're seeing here, the Cypress code, everything, all the instructions, the OutSystems code, everything will be on GitHub, so you can download and test on your side and probably check how the code was built, so you can see by yourselves. I'm actually going to show not the refactor code, but I will put the code that doesn't have deleted the sync timer, because I think that's the interesting part on this episode. So thank you very much. Have a great night, or depending where you are, rest of day, and hope to see you in the next episode. So stay tuned. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye bye.